and we're live.
All right. Well, happy Thursday. Last Thursday of the year to everybody. This Thursday, December 29th, 2022, for those watching in the far out future.
For the ancient that discover that we were an ancient civilization, we worshipped cats just like the Egyptians.
We did not.
We did. They were gods, deities, in fact, made flesh. Anyways, today is going to be an interesting session, a little more serious than we're used to. But I can bet you anything we're going to make jokes that are super fucked up, and I am excited for it. So
yeah. So welcome everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. We will try to keep it to an hour so you can finish your poop and get back to work.
If it takes you an hour to poop, go see a doctor.
It doesn't. They listen to our podcast, so they can sit there.
I mean, I'm just saying, see a doctor. Actually, I'm gonna advocate everyone go see your doctor once a year, please. Do your annuals. Go see your doctor. Get your blood drawn. It's good for you.
Yeah.
And a dentist. Go see the dentist once a year too.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah.
Well, in any case.
You go see your chiropractor too while you're at it. And if you have a Ouija board lady, a witch doctor, maybe go see them.
A brujeria?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's the word we use in English, but sure.
There's not a word for that in English.
I'm sure there is. A tarot card reader, a psychic. Go see your psychic once a year.
Everyone go see your psychic right now, actually. Tell them we sent you. Today's going to be an interesting episode. Today's sponsor is this big red cock. It's a beauty. It's a thing of beauty. Actually, if anything, I'd say it's average size on the size scale.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about mentors, mentorship, people who have impacted your life positively, things of those lines. We've both experienced that greatly growing up. So,
well, we'll get into that. First, let's start with our shots.
I completely agree. I got it. I got this one.
Yep.
Unless you don't want to follow it up.
No, go right ahead.
All right. So my shot today is going to go out to Major Bernie Huhani. He was a mentor of mine at my unit, and unfortunately, he passed away on Christmas Eve. So sad news for the holidays, but he was a great friend and an even better teacher. So Major Huhani. And I've actually ordered some stuff for the Heritage Room for him with his name on it and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Which is funny because sometimes he fucking hated that place, so I'm going to memorialize him in the place he hates.
Just because of what we're talking about, mine is also going to go back out to Mr. Brad Sparks again. Good friend to his family as well, as I'm sure they're struggling at this time. So cheers to you, friend.
You guys are missed dearly. But we get to talk about the positive impacts that they had on
my shot was interesting because I had some Crown Peach, and I'm like, oh, I'll take a shot of Crown Peach. And there was just a little bit left in the bottle, and I have another bottle of it. But I didn't want to open the other bottle, so it only filled like half of my shot glass. So then I just filled the rest up with the Kirkland whiskey.
That was a mistake.
It wasn't great, but I mean, I've definitely had worse.
Of course, every time a certain family member of yours hangs around, we always drink Fireball, and I still think that's the worst.
Fireball's not stiff.
Not a fan. Not a fan at all. That or absinthe or Jaeger. None of that. None of that shit.
You ever had Sambuca?
Oh no, it sounds like a drug.
Sambuca is like, it's supposed to be like an after dinner like sipping liqueur, and it tastes like black licorice.
That's exactly what Jaeger was for. Jaeger's actually a digestive booster.
It was so
Oh god. Well,
so terrible.
Who is that's not family? Who is someone you remember from your childhood? So we're talking from like being a little kid to graduating high school that majorly impact you. Maybe not in like a mentor role, but like teacher or something along those lines.
And that's kind of why you said we were gonna talk about this. And I've looked back, and there wasn't a ton of people that were like really jump out in my. There was a few teachers. If I had to say one, it would be his name was Dan Conrad.
That's a badass name.
He was a badass dude. Like this guy, he was a math teacher, and if you know anything about me, I was really good in math. And so he was always great. I took his class several years. He taught, I think I took pre-calc with him. And another class, he was also a football coach, so that helped. And just to show you how badass of he was, he actually took over, they started a baseball program within the schools that had always been outside of it. Mm-hmm. They started a club program. And he was at practice, and somebody threw a random ball, and somebody didn't catch it, and it hit him in the jaw and broke his jaw. And he taught for the next, I want to say it was like 4 to 6 weeks with his fucking jaw wired shut.
Holy shit.
To talk like this and drink all of his food. But he also, like, I needed a credit. I had like an open credit, and I wanted to do like, it was actually kind of a mentorship. So I was a teacher's aide for one of his classes. I was a teacher's aide for his statistics class that I never once took. And he was totally cool with it. Had me come in, do attendance. But just, he was one person that was always in, a football team of 70 people, a school of a graduating class of 300 to 400. He was always a good guy too.
That sounds awesome.
I've ran into him at the bars several times since then. He's now a principal at another school. Had a beer with him. Yeah, really good guy. What about you?
So I went to 13 schools before I graduated high school. It wasn't because I was a bad kid. We just moved that much, right? Or going from elementary to middle school, whatever have you. It was like circumstances were weird. And then I didn't do bad in school, but I didn't do great because I just didn't give a shit, right? I was gifted and talented in elementary school and I cared. And then I discovered girls were pretty, and then that was the priority, from then on out. And then my sophomore year of high school, I was in Korea, and I don't know if I should say her name or not, but she was my sophomore English teacher, and the school was so small that you actually took English and history from the same teacher, so I had her twice a day. And I was, kind of just joking off. I do okay on tests or whatever. Never did my homework, never studied. And then one day she had me stay after class after like a couple months, and she like tore into me. Like bad. She tore into me, and she made me do a book report on Edgar Allan Poe, right? And basically the gist of it was, I know you can do better than this. I know you're smarter than what you portray. So this better rock my socks, or I'm going to fail you. Like 100%. I was like, oh, shit. Because, she's a badass. And so I did it. And when I was reading, I was like, oh, shit, this is actually kind of good. Like, A Telltale Heart is what the report was on. And I was like, oh, I kind of like this. And so I did the report, and it kind of just took me from being this really lazy dude, and it turned me around, on the spot. All of my grades did a lot better. I focused on things that are more important. I wasn't going down a bad path, but I definitely could have. I think if she wouldn't have stopped me. Mm-hmm. So she was fucking awesome. And her husband was also a teacher at the school, and she was my cross-country coach. So she would, badass, small little blonde lady, but Jesus Christ! So
in Korea, it was on the base. On base. So she wasn't Korean.
Correct.
Okay, because this whole time I'm picturing some small
little Korean lady, my Miyagi
yelling at you in like a Korean accent. Like,
No, I think
Thomas, you fat fuck.
I think she was from like the Midwest.
Oh, well, I mean,
But
everything I just brought up in my head the whole time we were talking.
Just completely flipped. I didn't have a Miyagi. Sorry.
That's really disappointing at this point.
She's awesome. I actually still have her on Facebook, and I check in on her every now and then. She's killing it as traveling and stuff.
Nice.
But 100%, I owe a lot to how I view. First of all, reading. I love to read now. I read 3 books a month, as you know. Your wife also loves to read. She and my mom had a big impact on reading for me, are the reasons that I read so much. But yeah, that was my first one. I had waited, and of course, my parents are very positive role models for me growing up. So it's not like I ever really needed a mentor, but I definitely needed someone to kick me in my ass.
Yeah,
and she fucking lit me up.
Well, and that's where I think is the most important is like. Because I mean, let's be honest. There's just not enough people like involved to where you can have a mentor for somebody who's for every kid. There's just not enough people. I mean, unless they're parents, which I mean, I think is a primary job of parents is to give your kids, focus and things like that. And I look back on like a lot of what I did, and like you said, I didn't have anybody to give me that kick in the pants and say, "Hey, what are you doing? This isn't the way to go." And you wonder what one person doing that for you could have done and how different your life could be, based off of those things.
Yeah, I think my life would be totally different if she didn't kick me in the ass. She grabbed me by the beans, and she shook them.
Hopefully not literally, because that's illegal.
Of
in
course.
Korea, I think.
And then also my soccer coach. Any coach that I've ever had actually had a big impact on work ethic and everything. My soccer coach. I've already told the story about my soccer coaches.
Well, but I mean, is like you bring up work ethic, and I think that's a very different thing because you can have work ethic and still be going in like the wrong directions and things like that. Like you can be an awesome worker, but if you're not focusing your work in the right areas and being guided into the right things,
yes,
I mean, how many kids are told, "Hey, just go to college. College is where you need to go." And then they go spend a year at college like I did.
And they fuck out.
And I had the best year of my life, and I don't remember any of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I partied my fucking ass off and met some good friends, but at the end of the year, it was like I was nowhere other than in debt, and I came back and got a job. I think I got a job as a waiter when and there's a lot of people that because they don't have any fucking place in college. Or they don't have any guidance on why they're in college, and so they need. I mean, there's supposed to be all these guidance counselors and all these people, and I didn't see any of that stuff.
With 1,000 kids, only one person or even a group of people can only do so much.
Well, and that's where like the middle average people, I think, get missed out on. You're either the top 1% of either. You're an amazing athlete and you're getting scholarships, or you're an amazing student and you're going to, these Ivy League colleges, or you're the bottom percent and they're just pushing you to graduate. And you're getting all their focus because, no, like in South, I don't know if you guys do the No Child Left Behind or whatever nonsense it is.
Everyone does it.
And so you either fall in one of those two categories, or unless you've got stellar parents who are really helping you through that journey, which most of them probably don't even know what they're doing because they were lost in that.
Yeah, they didn't. They got blue collar jobs too, and or joined the military, which I think is very advisable for a lot of young men.
Well, and I actually read an interesting statistic that most people that join the military now it's families. Like there's military families, like.
Oh, yeah.
Your average person, like, unless you know somebody or something off the wall happens, a lot of people don't like. It's the same families joining the military.
Oh yeah, I mean
life cycle.
My great uncles were in the Army Air Corps. Yeah, it's not necessarily a tradition, but we know the benefits that it can provide. So when things get tough and we're like, we don't know what to do, it's like the male equivalent of being a stripper. It's like, I'm just going to join the military.
Well, OnlyFans now.
Oh,
taking over.
Excuse me. That's 3 square meals a day.
Let's join the 21st century.
Sorry. 3 square meals a day, a place to sleep, your bills are paid for. If you're in a rough place,
and you've got a mentor that's going to tell you exactly how you're fucking
you
up.
do. He or she will let you fucking know. And I wish I had joined earlier, right? Because I was idiot when I was 18, 19. I took college seriously for a whole semester, and then I'm like, fuck this shit. Whatever. I'm working. I'm making money. And then when it doesn't pan out, I became a stripper.
Yeah. I mean, and like for me, I went to college and I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to go to college for 6 years to be a lawyer. And I was like, fuck this. Like, I just spent the last, 12, 13 years trying to get the fuck away from all this. And now you want me to pay for another 6?
That's harder.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I would be much better off if I had somebody that kicked me in the pants and I would have gotten a law degree. But would I, at the end of another 6 years of doing that, would it have been what makes you happy?
Exactly. And you don't know because there's such a high threshold to get into. You could go through all this work, get in, do it, and then find out you absolutely fucking hate it.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell you how many people that have doctorate or master's degrees that I work with in the medical field that are physical and speech and occupational therapists that are leaving to go become realtors and go do all these other crazy shit. And I'm like, you spent how much on a degree and 6 years passing boards, doing all this shit, and now you're fucking. We have a couple that are recruiters doing what I do.
Yep. There's a dude on YouTube. He's called the Hornet King. Shameless plug. Great guy. He was a nurse. He's a BSN, right? Trauma nurse. Killing it. Fucking hated it. Now he literally puts on a bee suit and vacuums up hornets and records it.
Yeah.
And that is better than working in a hospital to him.
Exactly.
That is my literal nightmare.
Yeah, for you. But, I mean, there's a lot of other things that you probably would be doing, and somebody's like, that is my literal.
I guess that's fair.
But there's probably a lot of people, I mean, for all of our 8 viewers, there's probably a lot of people that even doing this for 8 people terrifies them.
Yeah, public speaking. I've never been afraid of public speaking my entire life. I doubt you have been, too.
There's been a couple times when I've gotten, in front of really big crowds. Like, when I gave the best man speech at my brother's wedding, I was super fucking nervous.
Really?
I don't know why, but...
It just hits you sometimes.
And then there was one other time I really enjoy singing. And there was a live band, and they brought me up on stage to sing, and I didn't know the words perfectly, and that fucking... I froze.
Well,
so,
yeah. And I've
done karaoke a ton of times, but there's cues for that. There was no cues for this.
Yeah.
Not good.
But still, in comparison to other people, you actually still got up there and did it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You went through with it.
And
I will say, it's going to sound super shitty, I love giving best man speeches.
How many have you given?
4.
That's a lot of best man speeches.
Yeah, I'm about to give a 5th one, I think, in May.
That's a lot.
And then there's Gabe. So it'll be 6.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at them, too.
Well, if Junior gets married again, that'll be 7.
Oh, my God, please. So, actually, fun fact.
Did you give a speech at his first wedding?
No, and he was super weird. He wanted me and Carlos to both be his best man, and I said no. Him and Carlos were way closer than him and I were growing up.
He wanted you to feel included.
That's
a really nice brother thing to do.
Which I was like, I appreciate it. Carlos can be your best man. I'm good with being. We don't have to do this. And I told all of them, you won't be the best man at my wedding. Because I have 2 very good best friends that will be. They got to fight it out. One's winning right now. Because I don't know.
Yeah, one has kids and.
Yeah. He's actually doing great. Talked to him the other day. It's really nice. Yeah.
Good.
So it's just one of those things. Like whatever. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. I've already given too many best man speeches. So
that's way too many. Like you should do I think 3 is top end unless you're repeating, and then you really get to make funny speeches as Well, here we are back again, folks.
So, funny thing about Junior's wedding, we were sitting in the pews, and he has a best friend. His name's Joey. He's a traveling nurse with his wife. Really funny guy, fucking hilarious. And we're sitting next to each other because it's a Catholic wedding, right? And like the ceremony is going on, and he just leans over.
For like 4 hours.
It's like 2 hours, but yeah. He leans over and he's like, "How many more times do you think we're gonna be up here?" And I'm like half asleep, and I just go,
3.
and he said 4.
The question is, though, when you said 3, is he just going to quit getting married at 3, or will the third one lock in?
I think the third one will lock in because they'll be too afraid of finding someone else. They'll be too old.
When I was selling jewelry, there was a guy that came in and demanded that we had rings in his size for like that Saturday, and it was like a Tuesday, and I was like, we have to custom order all that stuff. It won't be here. And he's like, well, we have to do it now because the church won't marry us because they've said we have to go through all this counseling because I've been married 7 times and she's been married 6. I was like,
maybe you shouldn't get married. You're alimony alone, my dude.
The church, who you're paying to marry you, is advising that you slow down.
It's advising that you maybe talk to each other. Jesus Christ. Hey, I'm a one and done. When it happens, that's it.
Oh yeah, I always said I'll never do it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Like I might, if heaven forbid something happens to my wife, the only way that like if I ever met somebody else, we wouldn't get married. Because
your mic is cutting in and out again. Just an FYI.
Oh.
So maybe you might need to lean back actually, because I think it's better when you lean back from it.
Okay.
Yeah. Weird. I know.
I'll relax. My threshold, that must be what it is.
Probably. So
I just get so engrossed with speaking with you.
Oh no! I mean, I get into it. We're like, so for a period of time, also I didn't have a mentor. Right? I just didn't happen. I was in college and drinking and doing the stuff. When I join the military, though, it's like fucking everyone wants to be your mentor, and they all have good advice for you, right? Like, and then you kind of like pick and choose. I have really good people that give me advice at my unit, but I had 2 that were like my go-tos, right? They're like, if I'm having a problem, I'm texting this person because they're going to give me the best advice. Major Rouhani was one of them. He was just very down to earth and very just, this is what you should do, right? From the drop, always. So I really appreciated him for him. And then on my first deployment, I had Sergeant Torres, Master Sergeant. She's actually only a few years older than me, but she joined when she was like young, and actually she just put on her lieutenant. So super proud of her for that.
Nice.
And so because she's a lieutenant, and she mentored me that whole deployment and being back and like just where my career should go in the military, what I should do. She is doing my re-enlistment and punching on my rank next in 3 weeks. So like she really means a lot to me, right? She's a really good friend. But like really just if I have any kind of issue, I can call her and it doesn't matter what time it is, and she will answer and she will give me the information and the help I need. And if she doesn't have it, she'll find it within like an hour.
Now, when you say like with these things that you call, like that's a lot of just work-related stuff, correct?
Yes.
Like you were having a fight with your girlfriend.
Oh, I could still call Torres.
But have you done that? Like I know you say you can, but have you had those conversations?
I've had those conversations. Well, Holly and I have never fought, so there's that. But, so
let's say before that, because we all know that you've been stabbed before.
Yeah. So I actually didn't really have too many stable relationships before Holly, after Stabby.
I mean, it doesn't have to be relationship questions. Let's just say something that's non-work related.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say
fighting
with your parents. Your
general advice, yes, but not specific. So girl troubles, I definitely text her about all the time. Because she is a girl, right? She gives me a different perspective. I've always asked her about that kind of stuff. Dogs, anything to do with dogs and dog training. She has a great husky that she has well trained, and that's a fucking feat upon itself, as we all know. Huskies are little shitbags.
What is it? Is the dog name? Is it Sasha?
No.
Oh.
His name's Brody. He's really cute. He's a red
Okay, is
husky.
that a different dog that I'm thinking of then?
Yes.
Okay.
But I've been able. I could call Torres, and she'll.
But I know that you say you can, but I'm just more curious if you do.
I have in the past, but I haven't needed to in maybe the past year if it's not work related.
And yeah, I mean, and I'm not. I'm more curious on like with if you have mentors or people that you go to for advice, things like that are specific related. Like,
well, yeah, actually, you fill the role for me for relationship advice. Typically,
if you ask my wife, that's a huge mistake on your part.
So it's worked really well for me. I had a great holiday season because of the advice you gave me. We're actually taking a trip. Technically, it's for my birthday, but on the 20th, we're gonna do a weekend alone in a cabin on Canyon Lake.
Oh, nice!
You know how much it cost me?
No.
$150 for the whole weekend.
Nice.
I know. You have given me a lot of really good advice. So for relationships, it's you and it's Julian. Those are the two people I ask for relationships. It's just being honest. Julian's also married. He's got a kid, 2 kids. So I usually ask you guys. I should probably ask more women, and I know I've used Torres in the past. But Torres, I would send her a picture of the girl that I would be dating at the time, and she'd be like, "Oh no, that bitch has crazy eyes. Run." And she was right. I didn't run. I should have listened.
And you got stabbed.
No,
it's no, and the reason I ask is because everybody like you always see movies and books and stuff portray like these people that we build this. I've got this mentor mentee. I found them. They do everything for me.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I don't like. I think that sets up a lot of people for failure in their lives because that's not realistic. Having that relationship with somebody is very unrealistic, and you're not going to meet a lot of people in your life that you're going to have that Obi-Wan relationship.
Oh yeah, no, it's rare. It's very rare.
But you're going to have a lot of people in your life who are going to be good influences in specific areas.
Yeah, that's fair. You're going to have people that are just friends. They're not necessarily a mentor, but they have more experience than you do in one area. And you can just kind of pick their brain.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people don't look at it and don't do it like that. Like, looking back now that I recently switched positions within my company, and my former boss was a tremendous mentor. She was always... The way she went about it, it's a very interesting thing because, I think the world would be so much better if a lot more bosses were like her. But we were in a sales position, and she very rarely did we actually talk about the actual nuts and bolts of doing the job because she knew I knew how to do the job. She was more worried about me and what was either helping or hindering me with the things that I was doing. If you're not doing this, you know how to do it. What's going on? Are you not happy in this position?
Well, that sounds
look
awesome.
For something else. She greatly pushed me to take a position off of her team, which probably ends up costing her money because I was pretty decent at my other job and I was on her team and she got paid directly because of me. And she was very supportive of if this is what you want to do and you're going to be happy, go do it. And I think a lot of people overlook those relationships. And I think a lot of people don't take the advantage when they have that over other people too, to be supportive of them. And, instead of looking at all relationships on what's benefiting me, but be like, what can I do to benefit you?
Yeah.
The best way I can say it is be the Charles Boyle in life.
Yeah.
He is his character is probably one of my favorite characters. Of course, we're going to bring it back to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If everybody doesn't know who Charles Boyle is, he is Jake Peralta's number 2 and the world's best friend.
Yeah, oh yeah, the world's best friend. Besides you, Gabe. Besides you.
I don't even know if Gabe could rank up to that. Like, if you and Gabe got best friend 1 and best friend 2 hats, is Gabe going to be like, I'm not wearing the number 1 hat because you're the number 1?
Well, let's ask him later. Let's do it. Let's see what he says.
Let's make best friend hats and send them to him and be like, give this to your best friend and see which number he gives you.
It's a good test. It's a good test. Or when we all see each other, put the 2 hats down, like, oh yeah, these are for us. And then just wait and see which one he goes and grabs. I'm like, go grab one.
That and let's be honest, when Jake and Amy got together, Charles was the first one and super happy.
That's true.
Can you say that about Gabe?
Gabe was pretty happy at first.
Was he?
At first, yeah. He got a little jealous. He got a little jelly. I spent less time with him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
He's texting us. I bet you he's watching.
Why doesn't he talk in this chat?
Yeah, Gabe, we want to hear what you have to say.
Which is okay. I mean, I get it. You know, when relationships change, things change, it's hard.
It is. And now he's got a special someone. So Gabe is having a grand time. And I think our relationship's actually better.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, because we both have someone, but we still make time for each other, you know.
Oh, that's so special.
Well, I make time for you too, asshole. Every Thursday, 9:00.
Oh, so this is my time.
Yes.
And it was out.
It's, also, believe it or not, a year ago, I think today, we were hanging out at a ranch.
Yeah. Small town Texas.
Yeah.
And it was cold then, too.
It was cold, and it was fun. And you didn't get drunk, but then you got COVID.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
I got drunk, but then I got...
Yeah,
I thought I was hungover.
And then Gabe and I got super drunk. Like, I think we finished that bottle of pecan whiskey and then a whole bottle of Weller's, too.
Yeah.
We went in on it. But besides that, I wouldn't say I've had, like, any mentors otherwise. I think I've had opportunities to have them, and I definitely have in my unit. I've had people come up and they've wanted to mentor me. Like, I have a major at my unit. I like him, but he's just too intense for me, right? I don't like a lot of intensity. That's not who I am as a person. I like laid back, relaxed. We get our shit done, but we also party hard. You know, this guy was just work. And he could have been a great mentor, but it wasn't for me, you know. He had a wealth of experience and knowledge, great guy, really like him, and he even called himself my mentor once, and I'm just like, kind of see you as just a friend.
I like you.
Actually, that's how Egg and I's relationship started, is that she was a young, fresh airman coming in, and I saw she was getting a lot of negative attention, so I decided that I wanted to bring her in and show her what I knew, which I wouldn't say it's too much mentoring because I was only a few years ahead of her, so I didn't know everything. It's not like that giant age gap, but I did bring her in to just be like, hey, dude, this is what you got to do. This is what you should be doing. This is what you should be studying. This is what you should focus on. So I think I'm getting to the age where I can actually pick up someone to mentor, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's a really important that a lot of people don't do. Like, everybody wants to look at it as like, oh, well, how can I make money off this? And post TikToks and, you know, reach hundreds of thousands of people and things like that. And I think those interpersonal relationships, and I myself, I need to work a lot on it because I'm not one that reaches out to people. And that's a super important part of it, is just reaching out and being like, hey, how are you doing? How are things going? You know?
Well, you reach out to me all the time, so maybe
that's because I want you play video games with
Yeah,
me.
usually. It's because and it's not because I'm good either.
You're my only friend who plays video games.
Yeah. I'm okay. I get by.
I'm just
I-
joking. No, I enjoy our friendship and I love hanging.
I do enjoy our friendship too, I will say. Enjoy it enough to start a podcast.
You act like this is like huge work. Like you don't want to do this.
I
I
love it.
was saying this is one of my favorite parts of the week.
100%. I actually like this more than I like D&D night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? One thing that I think that this podcast has actually helped my relationship with my wife.
Really?
Well, and I wouldn't. I mean, I know that you said that it's helped yours with your relationship with your girlfriend because of things that we talked about. But I also think it's good because both of us we're focusing on us and just speaking our minds for an hour. Like, how often do you actually do that in life where you are 100% not focusing on anything else, but just having a conversation?
Every 1 hour, every Friday.
Every Friday?
I think it's Fridays. When's my appointment? It changes sometimes based on how I
Or you
work.
go to
I do go to therapy.
That's
Just so
fine.
everyone's aware. I talked to someone and it's been great. But I get what you're saying. Yeah.
But I don't. I've never been. I probably would benefit tremendously from
Oh,
it.
it's amazing.
But
You're paying someone to be your friend.
yeah, realistically,
Yeah.
you do it for whiskey. So I mean,
It's great. And
but
I do think
but
it's
we're
healthy for us to
able
talk.
but I also, we're able to have conversations about things, and I think it's helped my wife maybe even get to know me a little bit better from just me talking and sharing my thoughts and opinions and
How we interact, because how you're going to interact with me is totally different than how you're going to interact with her.
oh, of course.
I think that makes sense. I don't.
Nor do I want you to.
Yeah, not even if you ask nicely.
Nope. One line that I can't cross. Sorry.
That's fine by me. There's not enough Viagra on the planet to make that one work.
I might even be willing to cut it off.
I'd go eunuch so I don't get the urge anymore.
Yeah.
That's so fucked up. I'd go eunuch. I'd rather not have a dick than be gay. That's a hate speech right there. That's a hate crime.
Is it though? It's not. I don't think it is.
I would just do it so I don't have the urge anymore. Just like
Yeah. Does it take away the urge?
it diminishes it.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it? If you just cut the.
If you cut the bean, oh no, you can. You're still.
Okay. And I don't know.
Yeah, if you just.
I still have all my parts attached.
Well, you got to think of like vasectomies, right? And I know you don't actually cut the beans off, but
Well, yeah, exactly. Because the beans are still creating testosterone, which is still getting pushed into your body.
But testosterone isn't the only hormone that pushes arousal.
No, but if you get rid of the beans and you get rid of the testosterone and the other things that they make,
I think it's still gonna, because you got to remember you got your prostate, you have a secondary sex organs too. So I think if you get rid of just the Frank and the beans, just go full like Ken doll. It's not only that you don't have the urge, but it's just like it doesn't matter if you have the urge or not. So you're just gonna shut it down whenever it happens.
I have an important question. It's a medical question based off of.
I'll give you as best an answer as I can in my professional opinion. My unprofessional opinion.
How do you when it gets cut off?
How would you pee?
Yeah.
I mean, your urethral line, your urethra should still be there. Like it's literally like a tube that goes through. You basically you'd be a girl, but just with one hole for peeing, and that's it.
So you'd have to sit down.
I mean, you could try and stand, run down your leg. We can get you a shiwi.
But let's be honest. When you pee, it's not like it just dribbles down. It shoots.
Pressure.
Right.
Same for girls. It still shoots.
Okay. So then wouldn't it shoot out in a direction?
You have to think about the placement of the urethra. So on a girl, people think that this is the pelvis, and that because we have wieners, we come out like this. Our urethra's right here. Girls, it's right here.
Yeah, exactly. So if I if I cut everything off, it would still shoot out.
Probably.
Would it be like a spray bottle where it would mist out? Or would it still come off a straight line?
I think it's going to come out as a straight line, but you could put your thumb over it and get it to really go.
Like a plugging a water a garden hose?
Yeah. I guess there's only one way to find out. I'm not going to find out. So. It's not happening.
I suppose that's why you pee right after sex.
Well, you pee right after sex to prevent infection. Which actually, there's a theory out there right now that says that the women's bladder gets stimulated during sex so that they can pee after. For that specific reason.
Guys aren't supposed to pee after to prevent infection, are they?
They can. They should. You should.
Do you?
I do.
Like how soon?
Like 30 minutes, not like super
soon. Okay. When you say right after, I'm thinking within the first 5 minutes.
No.
And that shit fucking hurts.
Yeah, you got to give yourself time, which is why I'm
like you said right after, so I'm
right
like,
after.
That's 30 minutes is not right after.
You should clear the line, you know.
Okay, 30 minutes. Okay, I get 30 minutes, but you just said right after. So I'm like, first 15 minutes, like.
Just think about like right after you're like, oh, I'm thirsty. You start drinking water. You're like, good work, honey. Good game, you know. And then when the water goes through, then you.
That I mean, that's an important thing to know. We've all had to pee right after.
Well, you got to think about women's urethras are actually smaller than men's, right?
And that's why they get a lot more UTIs.
Exactly. So the bacteria has a less likely chance to crawl up the urethral line in a man, especially in a man with a big dick, than it does for a woman.
So what does it say about me that I've had a UTI?
I don't know.
I was like 19, and it just started fucking burning when I peed.
You sure it was a UTI?
Yeah, I went to the doctor.
Okay.
And believe me that I was younger than that. I had to have been like 16 or 17 because I had to go with one of my parents. So my mom came to the doctor with me. And of course the doctor's like, "Do you need her to leave? Like, have you been doing this?" And I'm like, "No. Like, I have not been having unprotected sex. I have not."
I wish, Doc.
Yeah, like I'll volunteer for that if I'll take burning if I'm having sex on the reg.
Given the opportunity, I will. But no, as of right now, I'm not. And it can happen. There's a lot of things that go into that: circumcision, uncircumcised, what you're doing, exercise, fitness, bacteria, length of. There's just so many in infection with anything. There's so many variables that just go into it. And luck.
Yeah,
I've never had a UTI.
I've only had one.
It's not common for us, but I know girls that have had
one. Yeah, it's really uncommon, but it happens.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen from just about anything, honestly.
I think that's why girls are supposed to drink cranberry juice.
Cranberry juice. So,
for natural diuretic.
The kiddie drink. I saw a TikTok on it. It's going to be cranberry juice, pineapple juice for taste. And then orange juice for vitamin C, and then ginger ale for bubbles.
For what?
Ginger ale for bubbles? Oh, for just like a healthy kitty, you know, good coochie.
Oh, okay. You said I'm pretty sure you said. I thought you said kitties, as in like children.
No, like kitty.
I was super confused when you for healthy kitties, and I'm like. So you want my kids to drink pineapple juice, cranberry juice, orange juice,
and ginger ale?
Ginger ale? Like, I'm super confused. Like, I don't know if I'm going to let you come around my children anymore.
No. So the thing is, the cranberry juice hits the UTI, right?
Yep, natural diuretic.
Pineapple juice gives a better discharge, a clearer discharge, a more healthier discharge, right? For women. And then you do the orange juice, which is going to boost your immune system, vitamin C intake. And then you're going to do the ginger ale, which a lot of women, and this is proven, have a lot of stomach issues. And a lot of anxiety can actually be alleviated by drinking a fizzy beverage, right? So whenever Holly's really just having a bad time, anxious and stuff, if you get anybody, a patient, anything, if you get them to drink like a sparkling water, like just have them down as much as they can, and they're going to burp, and just the release of pressure, because it built pressure, right? The release of that pressure gives them the fake feeling that they're not, like their chest isn't closing in on them anymore. And it helps alleviate stress.
Interesting. I'll say, because ginger ale literally doesn't have ginger in it, so it really does nothing for you.
But the burping does.
Yeah. Like, because if you eat actual ginger, like there's ginger snaps and things like that, you
So
can actually, ginger is very good for your stomach and helping
nausea.
digest and nausea and kind of like peppermint.
When I fly, and if I have patients that are nauseous and we can't get them Zofran, I actually fly with a bottle of ginger extract pills, and I'll throw some their way. Or other flyers, if we're doing a mid-air refuel or a touch and goes, I'm like, here, take this. Trust me, it'll help. And even if it doesn't actually help, they think it does, and it's just
placebo effect.
It is.
Yeah.
And ginger tastes good. I like it.
It does.
I love ginger.
It's one of my least favorite.
Really? Moscow mules? Oof. Oh yeah. Strawberry Moscow mule.
You and my wife would drink together just fine.
We did. We made strawberry Moscow mules.
Yeah, I drink whiskey Moscow mules.
Which is weird because you like vodka.
I do. But I'm also allergic to a lot of... Well, I'm not allergic to the fruits and vegetables. I'm allergic to the pollen in the fruits and vegetables. So I can't do a strawberry.
Allergic to tree jizz. I get it.
I'm actually deathly allergic to apples. Like, if the kids eat an apple, like cut it up on the table and there's juices, and if I touch that and then wipe my eye gets fucking beet red. It's super annoying.
That is weird. But, I mean, that's allergies. And the more times it happens, the worse it's going to get.
Yep. Yeah, I'm about ready to fucking dig my eye out with a spoon some days. Also, my kids can eat a fucking apple.
I wonder if different apples have different responses.
I don't know. They didn't test that one, the allergy test.
Sorry, it's been a busy week for both of us. Work and the holidays and losing people.
Yeah, losing people. It's
actually. I want to talk. Oh yeah.
Give me one quick second. This will be a quick, and then we'll move on. So my grandmother, is having pancreatitis. Apparently, having some extreme pains in her pancreas. That's what they're calling it, pancreatitis. I feel like that's a way of saying we don't really know what's going on, so we're just going to call it this.
It's a way of saying there's inflammation on the pancreas, and that can lead to a million other things. Yeah.
So she was in the hospital, is, I believe, still in, but her sister passed away on Christmas Day. My grandmother comes from a very healthy Catholic family. She is one of 16 brothers and sisters. And with the passing of her sister, there are now 5 of them left. My grandma is the second youngest at 83 years old. So
it's not too bad.
Yeah, I was just my great grandmother. So my grandma's grandma, or my grandma's mom, my great grandmother. She had 16 children.
Holy shit, she bucks.
She was Catholic, so.
Yeah.
But with 16 children, that means she roughly spent 16 years of her life pregnant. And you figure if she spent 6 months after each one of those children breastfeeding, she spent nearly 20 plus years taking care of kids.
And a lot of kids.
A lot of kids. Like, even if you figure if they had them back to back, when she had the last one, the oldest was 16 years old.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Which it was far from. And so, yeah, that's great. So, sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just going to tell you about my unit's curse. And I joked about it before. So every holiday season for the past 3 years, we have lost somebody. So before, a few years ago, we lost Sergeant Mejia to a head-on collision. Some drunk idiot drove on the other side of the highway on him. I liked him. I went to his birthday party, played poker nights. Was sad. Wasn't super sad, right? Like other people knew him better than I did because I was fresh at the unit, or fresher. And then a really good nurse of ours died last year, and I talked about her. Major Laura, she died of a stroke. hemorrhagic stroke. Just one day she was here, and the next day she wasn't. And we actually just recently had this beautiful ceremony, great shadow box with her flight suit and patches in it. Oh,
I think
awesome.
I remember you talking about that last year.
Yep, and even Egg knows Major Lara. Really, really sad about that one. A lot of people were really sad. It was something. And then now on Christmas Eve, Major Nuhani just passed away. And that's 3 years in a row. And before then, and I didn't know him that well, we had somebody who was at the unit and passed away in a motorcycle accident around the holidays. And all of them, and when I say around the holidays, I'm talking November to January. That 3-month time period, we have lost someone from our unit.
You need to get out of that unit.
I'm thinking about it. That's nuts, right? Because we have max 200 members. Max.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm sure I'm sure like kind of how like the whole birthday thing works, where there's so many people are born every day. Like, figure the amount of people there should be a birthday every day, but there's actually days that there's way more, and there's days that are way less.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm sure that's probably similar with. Sure, there's months that are way higher in mortality and months that are way lower.
Well, that would make sense if all of these were like maybe traffic accidents or suicide, anything like that. But they weren't. They were all freak things that just happened, and so and medical things, not trauma, like medical.
Well, I mean, a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, that one, and then the car accident. Yeah, but then
so 2 out of your 4 that you just
it's still the last 2 have been medical, stroke and leukemia.
I'm not trying to diminish the losses or anything like that.
No, yeah,
50% of the examples that you just gave.
Well, let's wait until next year. Let's see if I'm still here, baby.
Well, yeah. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you get into winter, there's got to be. I mean, and the holiday season, there's got to be more distracted driving. You're worried about things, you're dealing with things, as opposed to a beautiful, clean June morning. You got nothing going on. I ain't got plans. Like, we're worried about the 4th of July, which is get drunk and blow shit up. Like,
yeah.
As opposed to, what am I going to get my wife? Do I have enough money in the checking account to pay for all these presents? How much family's coming over? Do I want to deal with all the family that's coming over? Do we have to go somewhere else? I mean, there's a lot of added stress around this time.
Yeah, there is. Man, and I will say you helped me out this time of year. So we split Christmas perfectly, Thanksgiving perfectly. Last year we spent New Year's with her family, so this year we're spending New Year's with my family. And I'm going to tell you, next year we're doing New Year's on our own with nobody else.
Go.
Well,
yeah.
That's the plan. I don't give a fuck where it is. We're going by ourselves, and we're going to get drunk, and we're going to stay up till exactly 12:01, and then go the fuck to sleep.
Getting drunk on a plane.
It's just your advice is really helped. It really is, but I wouldn't have figured that out. Wouldn't have figured that shit out. I have no idea.
No, you just kind of go with it, and you're like, well, they want to do this, well, they want to do this, and you look at all their other needs, and you're like, cool, and then you're yourself stressed out, as opposed to putting yourself first, which is important.
Yeah, and so next year for Thanksgiving, I think we're going to focus on, because this year we focused Thanksgiving on my family more. We're going to focus more on her family for Thanksgiving next year. Christmas, we're going to do the same, because her family doesn't do too much Christmas Eve, and mine does most of the stuff on Christmas Eve. And then Christmas morning is just like its own thing, and her family focuses mostly on Christmas Day. So I think that's always going to be like that just even split.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen,
Until we have our family of our own, and then I can tell everyone, this is where we're at. Come by.
Yeah. Be like, hey, I got a turkey. If I need to make 2, I can do that, but this is what we're doing.
Yep, like, here's the address. You want to see your grandkids? Come by. Hang out. It's fine.
Come hang out with your in-laws or my in-laws or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, and
come hang out with my wife's parents. I don't care.
I will actually really enjoy hanging out with my girlfriend's parents. I have a really good time with them.
So we're gonna do this very briefly. I know we're getting close to time, but I have to ask these questions. So, when it comes to opening presents at Christmas time, were your nephews there this year?
They were, actually.
They were.
Yes.
Awesome. So, when do you guys open presents?
So we open gifts given to each other on Christmas Eve after dinner. We have dinner, nice dinner, nothing fancy, usually tamales, nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy. Tamales are a ton of work.
I buy them. They're homemade still. Someone's grandma still made them because people in San Antonio will sell tamales to cover costs. And I'm like, I'll eat your fucking tamales so you can buy gifts for your kids. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
You look on Facebook, there's a million of them. So we'll do that, and then we all open gifts from each other on Christmas Eve. So Secret Santa, instead of everyone buying someone something super shitty and cheap, we actually do Secret Santa across the family so you can spend more money on just one person. So that one person gets a really nice gift. And so we open all the presents, which in fact, Holly got more presents from my family than I did this year.
Welcome to the life, buddy.
They showered her, which Holly, I need to show you at some point, but she gave me the best Christmas present I think I've ever got in my entire life.
If you can show it to me, it wasn't the best Christmas present.
That was later. Oh no. So Holly has an old lady hobby.
She knits.
She does. And she made me a giant blanket in my favorite colors. It's heavy, which is great because I'm probably autistic, right? And it is the softest fucking thing I have ever felt in my entire life. Hands down, the best present I've ever gotten. I sleep with it every night.
There was one year my wife told me she really wanted a weighted blanket for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I bought her a weighted blanket. I don't think she's ever used it.
Well, you gotta measure it based off of their own weight, because if it's too heavy or too light, it won't work. There's like a range.
She's never used it.
And I busted it out this year for Holly. I got her a crystal decanter set that was engraved with the Jack Daniels symbol, but with her name instead of Jack Daniels on it.
Nice.
It was super expensive, but don't do that.
So then, so you guys do your white apple, and obviously, do your nephews participate?
They don't. They just get gifts from all of us because they're only nephews and grandchildren.
So then, how do you guys open? Tell me the process of how.
Oh, okay. Open. So we actually do individually. Like, I want to see Greg open all his gifts and get excited because that gives me a kick, right? Like he just gets so stoked. Correct. Yes, and my other nephew, he opens all his presents, and then we go to couples because there's usually couples. So like Junior and whoever he's seeing, or just Junior, me and Holly, Miranda and Jack, and then parents, and just go in that circle.
Is it more by age, or
it's more like we just go around the circle? Right?
Yeah. So like, there's no specific, but everybody, like, it's not just kind of a free for all. No. Like, hey, here's your presents, everybody open. Like, because obviously, like for me, half the enjoyment
is watching them open it.
Watching my kids open Christmas presents.
Yeah, you want to see.
Or watching my wife open her presents, the things that I got her, the things that I struggled and thought about for hours on end. Yeah. Figured out in the budget, or if I could do it, and figuring it out and trying to find something that she enjoyed to see if I won or if I lost. Correct. If I'm in trouble or if I did something good.
Yeah. No, it's most of the enjoyment. Watching Holly, I stopped opening my gifts so I could watch her open gifts because just her facial expressions, it just made me really happy. And even gifts that I didn't give her, that my parents got her, she was so stoked, so happy.
Yeah, like I almost and don't get me wrong, like I love when people give me things. Like I love opening gifts, I love opening presents, I love that whole aspect of it. But I enjoy more watching other people open things that I got them.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
Did you guys do anything with Holly's family for Christmas?
Yes. So we went over there after Christmas morning. We did dinner with them, but they waited for us to get there to open gifts, and I got everyone a gift, too. And they got me a gift, which I actually, it was a really nice bottle of bourbon. Oh, so good. Single barrel select 4 roses. Beautiful. So it's just, we just basically just hopped over because that's how they do it. They open their gifts on Christmas. We just are lucky enough to open ours on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. So it works.
It worked out really well.
It worked out well for the family.
That's going to be the formula for a little while.
Yeah. So did they have so this is obviously your first Christmas there. So did you just jump in and do whatever you wanted, or did you kind of follow their?
I followed their lead, and they were more free for all. They were just opening willy nilly. So
Okay.
But I waited until I was watching, and I waited until most of the presents were open, and then I opened my presents, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Which it was. It was so delicious.
Nice.
And her parents were actually surprised that I got them gifts.
That's good.
So they're like, "Wow, we didn't think you'd do that." It's like, "Of course I'm going to do that. You're my girlfriend's parents. I really like hanging out. I like you as people. I didn't get them anything crazy, but
yeah." What about for meal wise? Do you guys have specific meals that you do? Because for me, I'll give you kind of my growing up. Every year, I can remember we had very specific traditions. It's been kind of weird for me now getting older because obviously you incorporate new families, new traditions. But when I was growing up, we always went to my grandparents on Christmas Eve. And my grandma would make 2 soups. She would make oyster stew, and she would make this shrimp, creamy shrimp soup. And thinking back on it, it was
seafood for Christmas?
Super, yeah. It's apparently a big tradition because I've talked to a lot of other people that do oyster stew.
Okay.
And it's a Christmas tradition. Because maybe it's just easy, so that way, the moms don't have to worry about cooking this huge lavish meal. We would do ham sandwiches and this oyster stew. I never liked the oysters, so I always ate this creamy shrimp stew, and they were these tiny little shrimp,
the canned shrimp. Yeah, love it.
Probably most people listening to this are going to be like, that sounds horrible.
No, I love those little bitches.
I can't tell you how much I have craved this creamy shrimp soup since I was a child now. Now that I'm an adult, Christmas Eve doesn't feel like Christmas Eve
without this,
because I don't have this shrimp soup and this ham sandwich.
That's awesome though.
And I would dip the ham sandwich in this it was basically cheese milk with shrimp in it.
Yeah.
And that was always the tradition. So now it's it's kind of, we do so many different things with my kids now, with my in-laws in Texas, and
the Nutcrackers.
This year we wanted to be at home. Nutcrackers is about the only standard tradition that we have. And so, that's why, do you guys have, did you have or do you have, traditions that you're this is what Christmas is to me?
So
this makes Christmas.
So there's 3 specific things that we have always done. And now I'm going to preface this with that I've dealt with my dad being deployed or working, and we just couldn't celebrate Christmas on Christmas. It happens.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't. Christmas doesn't. Christmas doesn't have to be on that day.
Exactly.
Let's be 100% honest here. Jesus actually wasn't born on December 25th.
He wasn't.
And for anybody that wants to argue with me about that, we can have that discussion.
And he's black.
At a separate time.
He's black.
Well, I don't know if he's black. But
he's black Jesus.
He's definitely Korean Jesus, for sure.
Chinese Jesus. So we have three things that we always did, no matter what. Number 1 is because of my dad, and we did it this year, and we actually went through all 5 of them, but we always watched Die Hard on Christmas, or Christmas Eve.
I looked it up, and you had to rent it, and I was so mad. I wanted to watch it.
We own it.
But I wasn't willing to pay Prime Video $3.99.
I own it. We all own it. It's fine. We always watch Die Hard.
Perfect. I love
Best Christmas movie.
New tradition just started. Go ahead. I'm going to Last Stop CD Shop tomorrow, which is a local used store, and I'm buying Die Hard tomorrow.
It's worth it. And then usually after that, especially growing up when we were kids, we'd watch a regular Christmas movie, the Santa Claus or whatever. We were little kids.
A Christmas Story.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, that was too old for us. So we watched Santa Claus or.
They used to play it for a 24 hours straight on TV.
Sure they did.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll shoot your eye out. I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you've actually seen it.
And to preface it, my mom would always play Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree the day after Thanksgiving, wake us all up, and make us decorate, which is kind of a Christmas tradition.
That's cool. That's a good tradition.
No, it sucked. It was 8 in the morning. I hated that tradition.
Well, you remembered it and you brought it up as a tradition.
She would decorate the tree.
Because not all traditions are good.
That's true. She would decorate the tree, and we would decorate the tree. And she put it in the corner of the house, and like our decorated side would be up. And then when we weren't looking, she would turn it to the side she decorated, so it looked nice and not like a bunch of retards decorated it.
I don't think you're allowed to use the R word.
Oh,
you're
right. You're probably right. All 10 of our viewers are going to be so upset. And then matching pajamas, as you saw, that's actually been a tradition for us. We always do the matching pajamas. We open them up on Christmas Eve. It's just, you put them on and you rock them. You rock your pajamas.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, God. I had another one. I think it just...
Well, you were at 3, but you said 3.
Die Hard, Christmas movies. Oh, The Family Shot. So this is a new one. Since we all are older and stuff, on Christmas Eve we do a family shot. We toast all the people we've lost, all the people we've gained, because, you know, kids and stuff, and then we just toast to a great Christmas and having a good time. We do it every year.
Yeah.
Mom does rum, Dad does a really nice scotch, and the rest of us do tequila and Jack Daniels.
You want to know an interesting thing about scotch? If you ever drink, like, take too many shots of fruity stuff, if you ever get into that situation again, which I hope you don't because you're a grown man, but we all will, where you're out at a party and somebody wants to take 4 shots of fucking slippery nipples or something
Lemon drops.
like that, whatever it is, but when you start to get that gut rot, I call it gut rot, when you take all that shitty stuff, if you get to that point where you're like, I can't do this right, order yourself a glass of scotch on the rocks, and it can be fucking bottom barrel. And I want you to sip on that scotch. You sip on that scotch, and it takes everything, that junk that you were fucking drinking that's fucking trying to rip its way through your fucking tube on your stomach.
Epiglottis.
That one.
Or no, that's your glottis, yeah.
It pulls it all down. Your stomach ache goes away 5 minutes. Pro tip right there.
I'm going to use that.
Learned that while I was bartending.
I'm going to use that. Okay, we are past time.
Yeah, it happens.
It does.
You know, what are they going to do? Cancel us?
I think they're going to cancel me because I said retard. Oh, that's
Probably. You fucking retard.
We have a retard counter. Ding, 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 ding. Well, this has been Sammies and Beer again with me and Matt. It's been a pleasure serving you all. Send us off, Matt.
Thank you for tuning in on this fantastic Thursday. If you like what you're hearing, or if you'd like to see us discuss something, please leave a comment under the video, and we will be happy to ignore whatever you write.
I know. I'll do it. I'll talk about it. I'll talk shit.
No, well, I will